What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. The final Week 1 preview and prediction that I will be posting here on my channel, at least for an individual game, is going to be a potential upset special from Morgantown. The West Virginia Mountaineers are a Big 12 championship hopeful in the wide open conference, while Penn State is a college football playoff hopeful looking to cement themselves as one of the best teams in college football this season, but they are on high upset alert here as they travel to Morgantown, and I'll talk to you about everything Nittany Lions and Mountaineers in just a little bit. It should be a fun one from Morgantown, but I got to thank you guys so much for the amount of support you have showed this channel. You continue to show this channel. It's just insane to me. Please continue to help support the channel in any way you can. And if you're as big of a college football nerd as I am, you have to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell because it's just so good to have college football back, and you don't want to miss anything I upload this college football season. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video. It really does help support me, and you can help support the channel in many more ways by just simply interacting with it, liking, commenting, sharing, or anything I haven't said yet. Please feel free to do so if you would like to help support me in what I do here on YouTube. But if you want to support me in more ways than YouTube, you want to know my journey about being about trying to be a sports media professional, about my journey as a sports media student here on campus, some of the field work I do, you can go follow me on Twitter at TailgateNate29. There, you'll even find a link to listen to a football game that I'm calling tonight. Yes, tonight. If you want more details, go look on Twitter. Again, at TailgateNate29. Even if I remember, I'll put a link to where you can listen to my football game today down in the comment section below as I do commentating work. And again, I would really appreciate a follow and if you showed me support over there as well if you would like to. But with all that out of the way, it's time to go to Morgantown. Penn State and West Virginia. Could we have another early season top 10 upset? We got one last week when Georgia Tech beat Florida State. Could we get another one this week? Ooh. Gonna be really exciting game to watch. But let me tell you how we do predictions here for games during the college football season. We'll take a look at some keys to the game when each team possesses the football. So we'll first go through the Nittany Lion offense versus the Mountaineer defense, and then we'll flip it. We'll look at keys when the Mountaineers possess the football and Penn State is on defense. And then at the end of the video, I'll give you some more final thoughts, sort of wrap it up, and give you a prediction on who I think is going to come out on top here in this game. It should be a back-and-forth battle. It should be a good one. Another top 10 upset will we have in Morgantown? You're about to find out what I think here in this video. So, Penn State and West Virginia, let's get into it. Let's dive on into things when the Nittany Lion offense is on the field. And this is the Nittany Lion offense that returns a ton from last season. Drew Aller is back for yet another year. Now, the one thing that you want to see out of Drew Aller, his short game was really good, and he possesses a lot. He just possesses such a great skill set. The downfield pass is definitely a huge question mark in his game, and you didn't even really see it that much during the Penn State spring game back in April. However, it sounds like it's improved a little bit throughout summer and fall. Will it work here in this game? Is it going to be on point? You lost your big target in Keandre Lambert-Smith. He is now an Auburn Tiger. So who do you have this year? Well, you still have Harrison Wallace. You still have Caden Saunders. You still have Liam Clifford, Omari Evans, Tyler Johnson, as well as some other really good wide receivers. And what possibly could be the leading receiver on the team this year, Julian Fleming is a transfer coming over from Ohio State. Just got lost in a loaded wide receiver room in that Buckeye program. And he's going to be a really good weapon for Drew Aller this year, especially if they can get him the ball downfield. The downfield pass, that is the big question mark. We know the run game is going to be sensational. They have one of the best running back duos in the entire country, Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. You sit Cam Wallace back there, as well as a freshman in Quentin Martin. But again, led by Singleton and Allen, it's one of the best running back duos the country has to offer, and the run game is still going to be simply sensational this year. Now, the Mountaineers can defend the run. They only allowed 144 rush yards per game last season. Going to be a little bit of a different task this season. Again, these two teams did play last year, and I'll actually pull up some stats from that game in just a little bit to kind of, back up what I'm thinking here a little bit more. But this is the Penn State rushing attack that is just going to be a really, really good threat. The Mountaineers do have some guys up front to slow it down, though. The West Virginia Mountaineers, as I just said, have some really good pass rushers, most notably in Sean Martin, who just hasn't really exploded like a lot of Mountaineer fans have hoped he would, have thought he would. This is the year where Sean Martin can be a really, really vital player. He already is a really good player, but he can have the dream senior season that every edge rusher dreams of. he can be that guy. You also do have guys like Moba and Vesterainen and Bradley, and even some linebackers like Trotter and Lathan and some other just absolutely phenomenal players in this linebacker room that are just going to be really good players. The secondary's got some good players, but especially up front. They have to they can create pressure, and they must create pressure. It's a Penn State offensive line that will be without Olu Fashanu, the best offensive lineman potentially in the country last year, who has now gone off to the next level. And again, Penn State still has some really talented offensive linemen, so it's going to be hard to get pressure, but you have to be able to slow this rushing attack down. They were able to do so for the most part last season. It was, I believe, I actually have the stats right here, 146 yards rushing for Penn State, 4.2 yards per carry for the Nittany Lions last year. The Mountaineers want to look to limit that a little bit more. But again, is that downfield passing game going to work for the Penn State Nittany Lions? Well, it worked a little bit last year against this West Virginia secondary because West Virginia allowed over 300 passing yards to the Nittany Lion offense last season. Penn State, again, got a lot of really good weapons. So that secondary is definitely going to be tested here. And that's, again, just the big thing. The West Virginia secondary could be a lot better this season. They got guys like Aiden Garnes and Garnett Hollis to enter through the portal, as well as returning a ton of really good players like Aubrey Burks at the spear position. Josiah Jackson is back. Anthony Wilson. A ton of other transfers are coming in, as well as, I believe, a freshman or two that are going to play significant minutes. And it's a secondary that overall, in terms of this matchup, again, it wasn't overall terrible last year, but it wasn't great. It's got to see improvement. And again, the downfield pass is not Penn State's game. They want to run the ball. If they can limit the run here, can this West Virginia defense and the secondary step up, force a couple of turnovers that Penn State just didn't have a ton of last season, create some pressure, rush Drew Aller, make him win the game with his downfield arm, that's going to help this West Virginia team out even more. But now when you switch it and you talk about when West Virginia is on offense, if my slide would change, hey, there it goes. Garrett Green is the name of the game here for the West Virginia offense. An exceptional quarterback last season, a senior leader on this team, and he's going to be a really good player again this year. He's got to be a difference maker because when you look over at the other side of this Penn State defense, you're going to be facing one of the best defenses in the entire country, and I could rave about this Penn State defense forever. They got a ton of really good players. Abdul Carter's going to move to his true position at the edge rusher. Kobe King is a phenomenal linebacker, and you have a ton of really good secondary members to this team as well. A couple transfers come in to give the secondary a little bit of a boost, but Danny Dennis Sutton, Zane Durant, Devon J. Thomas, again, I already said Abdul Carter, Tony Rojas, Kobe King, I'll mention it again, Dominic DeLuca, Cam Miller, Kevin Winston, Zaki Wheatley, AJ Harris, who's a transfer, Jalen Reed. Ooh, I could go on and on and on. This is a loaded Penn State defense. It was one of, if not the best rush defense in the country last year, and it will be again. But that is a big key to watch, right? Both of these teams' bread and butter is the run game when West Virginia is on offense, when Penn State is on defense. West Virginia averaged almost 230 rushing yards per game last year. They still got a lot of really good talent in that running back room. We know Garrett Green can run, but you still have C.J. Donaldson. You still have Jaheim White, two really talented running backs back there that are going to be able to run the ball for West Virginia. Now, last year, similar stat line to that of Penn State, 146 rush yards for this West Virginia rush offense, as well as 3.7 yards per carry. So a little bit less than yards per carry, but only 162 passing yards, 6 yards per completion for Garrett Green last season. That has got to be the big difference here because this West Virginia run game and the Penn State run defense, well, both of them are going to make plays. I think West Virginia is going to have some really good runs, and of course, West Virginia's Penn State's run defense, my apologies, is going to be able to get home. It's going to be able to get pressure, and it's going to be able to, at times throughout this game, control the line of scrimmage and do what it needs to do. It also is a really darn good pass rush. So even when Green does go back to throw, Penn State's going to be able to get that pass rush home. Last season against this Mountaineer team, I'll actually find it here really quickly. Okay, never mind. I am not finding it, but they did force quite a bit of sacks, I do believe, against West Virginia last season. And overall, Penn State was just able to control the line of scrimmage here in this game, which is why I think the trenches are key, especially when West Virginia possesses the football. They did not allow a lot of sacks last season. They allowed the run game to be as successful as it was, but you're going up against one of the best defensive fronts in the entire country, not only in rush defense, but also in terms of getting pressure and getting that quarterback down. And it's a Penn State defense that forced nearly 2 turnovers per game last season. West Virginia has got to be careful. They've got to be smart because if this Penn State defensive front is going to be controlling the line of scrimmage all game long, it is not going to bode well for this West Virginia team. But again, that being said, challenge this secondary a little bit, right? We know the run game is going to have their moments, even against the defensive front, as talented as Penn State. They run the ball too much. They're going to break away with some big runs at some point throughout this game. But this West Virginia wide receiver room, again, with Garrett Green, you have Cole Taylor there at tight end, Hudson Clement, Preston Fox, Jaden Bray is a transfer coming in, Justin Robinson is a transfer coming in. You do have some very talented wide receivers that I think can pose a pretty big threat to this Penn State secondary. Again, the Penn State secondary was also phenomenal last season, does lose some fairly important players, but you have to find more success in the pass game than you did last year if you're going to want to come in with a win. Now, again, home field advantage is in West Virginia's favor as they play this game in Morgantown. It was in Penn State's favor when they played in Happy Valley last year. That is definitely going to make a difference. But now when we start to talk about and sort of wrapping my thoughts up here on this game, Penn State is the 8.5-point favorite for a reason. I think Penn State is going to end up winning this game. And I'll tell you why here in just a second, but you can find this one. It's the big noon kickoff on Fox and should be an absolutely thrilling contest. But I just think Penn State, that pass rush is going to be able to get home a little too often. They're going to be able to slow that run game down as much as they need to, just like last year. And Drew Aller, I think that downfield ball is going to be better. While I don't think it's going to be exceptional in this game, and the West Virginia secondary may be able to come away with a couple pass breakups, and if they're lucky, they can force Drew Aller into throwing an interception as well, something that Drew Aller just didn't throw a ton of last season. If West Virginia can force turnovers, they can slow this Penn State run game down, make Drew Aller win the ball with his arm and pressure him. That's going to bode well for this West Virginia team. But I think Penn State's got too much talent in that running back room. I think they're going to be able to control the line of scrimmage, not only defensively, which I definitely think they will, but also offensively as well. The pass rush is going to get home, and I think Penn State's just going to be too much for West Virginia to handle. Can the upset happen? Yes. If Drew Aller doesn't play well, if West Virginia is a lot better on the line of scrimmage than I'm thinking they're going to be here in this game. And again, I don't think they're far off. That offensive line is going to give this Penn State defensive front hell. They're going to give them a really good battle, but I think Penn State's got too many talented edge rushers, got too many talented players on that defensive front that I think they'll be able to control the line of scrimmage. The run game will work, and just like last year, I think the pass game does a little bit better than most people are expecting against this West Virginia secondary. That will improve, but it won't be enough. A very close game in Morgantown. I got the Nittany Lions pulling this one out 26-24. Again, I like West Virginia to cover really whatever spread, because I think the Mountaineers will keep this game close. They're really, really talented and could be one of the Big 12's emerging teams this season. But I think Penn State's a little too physical. They got a little too much talent. It's why they're a top 10 team in the country, and it's why I got Penn State winning this one and surviving the upset in Morgantown. But let me know what you guys think about this game in the comment section down below. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. And I'll talk to all you guys tomorrow when we sort of go through the rest of week one, give you a little bit more of a preview, and just tell you how excited I am for the rest of this week. Goodbye.